Mindset has a lot to do with implementation. Like most everybody watching today believes they're the ones that must do the implementing. But if you think about it, Nathan, most of your great implementation came from you gaining clarity and then directing, your admin people or someone to do something so that it actually got done because you're busy, being the rainmaker. I mean, if you look at the rainmaking activities, not a single one of them says do the technician work. So I want everybody to be very clear on that, is that, for example, there are two types of implementation. One type are things that you can implement that do not require any additional time. Okay. So let me give you an example of something that you can implement that doesn't require any more of your time. The follow-up script. So if I'm going to be on the phone making calls anyway, I can just use different word tracks. The words come out of my mouth differently because I'm reading from a different script. That requires very little time, if any, to pull off. So in the course of your routine, you just change the approach to things. Same thing with presentations. If you're going to be using a presentation anyway, just use our presentation. If you're going to be using an agreement anyway, use our VIP buyer agreement. And so during the course of your normal routine, you just disrupt or change the routine. It hasn't added more time to your schedule. So that's one kind of implementation, which most real estate agents were able to do here. Where it gets more difficult for them is when it requires more time. So type into the comments and chat if that describes you. Like your biggest challenge is implementation, not because of desire, but because of time. It requires additional time. Here's a classic example. Let's say you want to build out your CRM with a tracking and reporting process, as well as all of the activity plans that tell everybody what to do and when to do it in your company. You want to get all of your processes tightened up, get your CRM so that it actually runs your business without your constant involvement. You can literally be on the moon and just press a button on the internet and see what's going on all the time, any given day, sitting on the beach like Nathan does, sipping on a pina colada, knowing exactly what's going on back in your business, just like you'd clone yourself 100 times, right? So that kind of implementation requires time, someone else's time, I would say. And that's what Nathan did. Like he said, well, if I'm going to build out my CRM, I just need clarity on how it works and what it's going to do for me. And then I'm going to get one of my key admin to go and build this thing out for me.
If you want to get Google to rank your pages and your website higher for certain search terms, then you have to follow Google's rules. They have patented algorithms. I mean, this is their bread and butter, is search algorithms. So the way that they think is they literally think, we are the best, we're the smartest, we know how to organize and handle data and index data from the web. So if you do everything like we do and you act like us, then you must also be smart and good, and we'll show your sites and pages. So you have to think like Google and do what Google thinks you should do, and they will reward you by raising your page rank higher and showing your content. So how does Google think? They think in terms of organization and indexing. So they think, how do we take the information, get it quickly, and file it quickly? So there's a couple of roadblocks to that. The first is page speed. So we bring this back to earth in real terms. If your website is slow, then Google says they're not going to be the best return to show the end user. The situation is, I come to my desk, I'm looking for a pair of shoes. I need some kind of shoes. I go to Google, I type in cool running shoes. Google is going to look through the whole internet and figure out what to show me, and they're going to rank it. The things that they're looking for are page speed primarily. Then they're looking for accessibility and how easy is this information to read, relevance to me and what I'm searching for, and then content. So at some point they look at the domain name, then they read the whole site top to bottom. Here we go. Okay, so.
Yeah, this is what I just did. I got your email, so I got all the slides. We'll look at them. But I went to Google and I just pretended to be, just an average person thinking about selling my house. How do I avoid inspection problems when selling my home? And I'll just set this up for everybody. So this is pretty common. Someone was thinking about selling their house. Their neighbor had sold sometime in the not too, distant past. And the neighbor remembers, it's like, oh my God, I remember this guy having all kinds of problems when he was selling his house. with his home inspection. It was a nightmare that he had. I don't want those problems. My home was built by the same builder, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want that. So I go to Google, like most people would, to look for solutions, and I just type in, like, this is my problem. And you can see the ads are a bit irrelevant that popped up there. But if I look at the search engine, the SEO piece of it, first of all, Google's telling me here, Chuck, what other people have looked at or typed in or searched for around the same sort of topic that I'm actually looking for as well. Is that right?
That's a rephrasing of your question to try and help you ask a better question. And not to interrupt you, but this is a really good example of why it's important to know that the people that you're trying to connect with through the internet, they don't know what to search for initially. So what I'm finding is this is huge, because people are typing in, how much was a home sold for in Plantation, Florida? When what they're really trying to ask is, how much will I get for my home? But they haven't gotten there yet. You know what I mean? They're starting with these outlier questions. And so
Yeah.
that's what this is for. It's to help Google reshape and reframe your question.